All right, let's continue on page 4 of our Unit 8 Trigonometry notes. And we're on problem 4 right now. And we want to figure out what our value of x is to the nearest tenth. So I identify my angle. I pick out my sides. This is my adjacent side. This is my opposite side. Adjacent and opposite tell me I'm going to use tangent. So my tangent of 30 equals my opposite over my adjacent. So cross multiply. So 13 times the tangent of 30. Go to my calculator. 13 times the tangent of 30. And I want this to the nearest tenth, so it's about 7.5. Number 5. I've got my angle here. I have my opposite side. I have my hypotenuse. Again, thinking about my SOHCAHTOA. So opposite and hypotenuse, this is my sine function. So sine of 53, opposite over hypotenuse, cross multiply. So x equals 21 times the sine of 53. And I want this to the nearest integer. So 21 times the sine of 53. I get about 16.77. So it's going to round to about 17. So about 17. All right. Now again, this one, we're going to say it's a little bit different because we're finding to the nearest degree. We're finding the angle measure. So I have my adjacent side. I have my opposite side. Adjacent and opposite is tangent. So tangent of x equals my opposite over my adjacent. So I'm going to go to my calculator. Second tangent, 23 over 30, about 37 degrees. X is about 37 degrees. Okay, and again, notice there's no work to be shown on that one. All right, number 7, find x and y. All right, so we have some choices. So again, 30 is our angle. We have a hypotenuse. We have an adjacent side for y, opposite side for x. So we can really kind of do a number of different things with this problem. So if we want to do something easy, though, we want to start with sine. We could do sine of 30 equals my opposite over my hypotenuse. So cross multiply, 20 times the sine of 30, 20 times the sine of 30, 10. Oh, that's a nice number. Okay, so x equals 10. Now, we could do a couple of different things here. We could use trigonometry to answer the second part. We could go back and say, all right, well, then the cosine of 30 is y over 20. Or we can use the Pythagorean theorem. So we would have something like a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I could say that I have 10 squared plus my y squared equals my 20 squared. So 100, 400, 300. Take the square root of both sides. And y is going to be 10 radical 3. 10 radical 3. Okay. Or if I went over to my calculator, 20 times the cosine of 30. And if I just want to double check, 10 radical 3, same answer. Okay, so it didn't matter which way I did that there. All right, so here's the big sum. Okay, so right here, to solve any trig problem, there's only 3 different ways, 3 different things that could happen. Either x is on top, x is on bottom, or x is the angle. So making these into fractions definitely helps when you think about cross multiplying. So if I had this one right here, I'd have x equals 5 times the sine of 30. I'd put that into my calculator, and I'd end up with 5 times the sine of 30. I get 2.5. If I happen to have it on the denominator. Okay, so this time when I cross multiply, I'd have 5 equals x times the sine of 30. And I want to get rid of the sine of 30. So divide by the sine of 30, divide by the sine of 30. These cancel. 5 divided by the sine of 30. I get 10. And this one right here, remember, we're solving for an angle. So this is where I use second sine, but I actually don't really have to write anything. So second sine of 4 over 5, about 53 degrees. Say approximately 53 degrees. All right, let me know if you guys have any questions, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon.